So, funny story. I started the video and forgot to unmute my mic. So I have to redo 7 minutes of my life. So that's pretty terrible. I wasn't satisfied with the tier list I made yesterday. Or I wasn't satisfied with the tier list I found yesterday. So I decided to make my own, and there are over 130 characters here. And there are probably some here that I don't even remember, and I just made this last night. But so we're gonna go through this and rank all of them. And I can't believe I have to say this, but there's spoilers in this show. In this video, there's spoilers. I can't really believe I have to say that, because the show's been over for 5 years, so if you're watching this, I mean, chances are you know how it ends. I really don't want to go front to back this time, because I've done that twice before in outtakes. So I'm going to start back to front, and we're going to start with this girl. This is Zoe. She's one of Samara's friends. She's the girl that Emily had to give her phone number, because if she didn't, A would reveal that she was doping, even though she wasn't doping. She was really pretty, but she's kind of sandpaper.
Oh, thanks.
Compared to, like, Samara's other friends. So she's a D tier character. She underperformed even for her relevance. Next we have Zach, which was like, I guess he's D tier. This was Ella's fiance that tried to get with Hannah. And he was like a really good person at first. And then he turned out to be a terrible human being because he like made a move on Hannah. But just because of the fact that he like genuinely cared about Ella, I'm going to put him in D tier and not F tier. So he was an okay guy. I feel like the only thing he was guilty of is what everybody else on the show was ultimately guilty of, and that's just being horny. I feel like that's what drives 90% of the plot in this show. So yeah, Zach is a D tier character. Next we have Willow, who is Spencer's mini-me in the flash forward. She's the one that finds out that Addison is missing, and then does the funny and says the Spencer line, and then the show ends. We're never getting a canonical continuation of it, not after The Perfectionists, which was a good show. I don't know why it never took off. I liked Monison in the show. Underrated friendship. Anyway, so Willow was the like he was the last person we heard from in the penultimate scene in the show. And I can't really make her an F tier character, because she literally only had like 2 scenes in the entire show. But I can't really make her a C tier character because she was so irrelevant. I mean, she was solid for what she was, so we're going to put her in D tier. Next we have Mrs. Welch, who I literally, out of all the teachers, I remember nothing about. We're going to put her in F tier. I think she was the girl that was like, Ezra, you should go on this field trip. Or something. I forget how that came about. It was something with Ezra and Ella in season 1 or 2, and I forget about that. But she's F tier. I know who she is. I just don't remember why she is. Next we have Wayne Fields, Emily's dad, who was killed in the flash forward. He served in Afghanistan, even though he was in the National Guard, which I thought was kind of stupid. But he is an S tier character. He's our first S tier character, hands down. He is the best parent. Not my favorite parent, but he is the best parent. He accepted Emily quicker than Pam did, because he's just awesome. He once climbed 3 stories to save his daughter, and then had a heart attack. So he's just a really good guy. Next we have Duncan Albert, who was the guy towards either the end of season 1 or 2, right before I think it was season 2 because it was right before the reveal, when they were connecting all the dots to Vivian Darkbloom. He flew Allie from Hilton Head to home the morning she was murdered. Not murdered, disappeared. And he liked her. But he was just pretty boring. Like, the acting was really bad. And he was kind of jacked, but, like, it didn't really matter just because he was boring. So he's F tier. He's not even really solid for who he is, which is kind of crappy. Next we have Connor. He's F tier. He's the guy that, he's Mike's friend that Aria helped write the paper. And then tried to, like, tell everyone in the school that they had sex. And then Mike, like, trashed his, like, piece of shit Oldsmobile. So he's, like, a terrible human being. So that's, yeah. Connor's F tier. Next we have Veronica Hastings. She's a pretty B tier character. She's not the best parent. She's definitely not the worst. I think, like, her and Kenneth really got the bad end of the whole incest deal. They were just innocent bystanders. But she was nice enough to Spencer. She was a little too much on the self-preservation train, which I thought was kind of selfish and shitty. But, yeah, she's a B-tier character. She did some questionable things, but ultimately I felt like she really loved, Spencer. And she represented Hannah's mom and Alison, because she's a lawyer. And she was a state senator. And she ran a really nice, clean campaign. It could have been a lot worse. Next we have Seth. He was like the psychic kid from the doll shop. And I was going to put him in C tier just because he was ultimately helpful to the girls. He only showed up in 1 episode. It was 2x24 if these dolls could talk. But he was overall just kind of creepy and stupid. So he's D tier. I was going to make him C tier just because he was helpful. I'm smiling because I'm looking at the next picture. But yeah, so Seth is D tier. Next we have Tobes. When I was making the tier list, I went out of my way to make sure that I used the picture of him in a do-rag. Just because I felt it was really important that we did. So, yeah, that scene is so bullshit. But it also stemmed one of the biggest inside jokes of, like, my freshman year of high school. Occasionally, I would just look at my friend and we would look at each other. And then we would just go, I didn't write these. And then we would just, like, throw something imaginary on the ground. So that was a whole thing. Toby's a pretty big character in the show. He's a pretty good guy. He's got the dark past, but that's just because he was troubled. He was Spencer's endgame ship. They did everything together. He did a lot for Spencer and her family. He built her a chair one time. She bought him a truck. He's just a pretty solid character. I would say he's an A-tier character. He's our first A-tier character. The do-rag, I can't stand it. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's A-tier. He's not quite S-tier, but he's an A-tier character. He's better than Veronica. Next we have Mona, and she's S-tier. She is my favorite character of all time. I can't stress enough how much I love this woman. She is like my crush. She's amazing. She's the best character in the show. She has the most depth. She truly did love the girls. Well, she truly did love Hanna, and if she didn't really care about the other girls, she at least felt sorry for them. I'm sad that she was never fully included in the group in the end.
Seems whatever I do ends up this way. Good intentions that look like trash.
And that she went crazy in the end, and it literally ended with her playing with dolls. But the perfectionists took her back to the vibe that I liked the most. Even though they split up Emerson and the perfectionist, they redeemed Mona in that show. So 6B, 7A, Mona was the best Mona. Perfectionist Mona. But she's S tier, obviously. She's the best. Next we have Tom Marin, which I'm going to surprise a lot of people and not put him in F tier. And I'm going to really make sure you're sitting down for this one. I'm not going to put him in B tier either. He's going to be a C tier character. Here's the deal with Tom. Tom, I feel like, again, just like Connor and just like Zach, I feel like he just suffers from being horny syndrome. So I feel like he really does love Hanna. I just feel like ultimately he wants to do the right thing, but he doesn't know how. It always really interested me what their relationship would look like if him and Ashley had stayed together and they had stayed a family. I really like their scenes together when they're like getting along, especially for that little while in season 2A when he moves back in. I think he's a good guy. Yeah. I think he's a good guy who just does really shitty things. I think he's just kind of weak. Speaking of people that were engaged or married to Ashley Marin, we have Ted Wilson. He's the pastor at the church. And I feel like I shouldn't put him in S tier, but I can't really make a convincing argument not to. He's just a good guy. He's a great guy. He's a pastor. He treated Hanna and Ashley so good. He was Charlotte's biological father, but he didn't know that. The only thing he was really guilty of was hiding Mary, and that's just because Mary is kind of terrifying. But I am sad that they broke off their engagement. But yeah. Ted's a great guy. Next we have Talia Sandoval, which was the professional chef that Ezra hired to cater the grand opening that Emily hooked up with. They were a cute couple for a short period of time. It was the only real instance where Emily was with someone who was older than her. It was the only time, I think. Because all her love interests were her own age. And she was sweet, but she was also lying to Emily and her husband at the same time. She made Emily believe that they had an open relationship and that she wasn't cheating. And then she made her husband believe that Emily didn't matter. So basically, she hurt everyone in the end. But she was nice and sweet, and there were a couple cool scenes with Emily. So even though she did screw over everyone in that love triangle, she's a C tier character. She actually had a lot of depth to her that I really liked. Next we have our first liar of the main six, well, our second, Mona. And that's Spencer. You can tell it's not Alex, because Alex is up here, and I used the LO sister picture because I thought that would be really funny. It's pretty funny. So next we have Spencer. I feel like I can't make any of the liars below A tier. Except for Spencer. She definitely is the highest level B tier character. She's my least favorite out of all the liars. I feel like she doesn't have a lot going for her. Like, I feel like aesthetically I understand why people like her. She's pretty, she's smart, she's funny. She's got good energy. But the thing is, she's done a lot of shitty things. She's told a lot of lies. She's exploded on a lot of people. She's just, out of all, like, 6 of the liars, I feel like she is the worst. I feel like she's made the most mistakes. And Mona's made a lot of them, trust me. I feel like she's just... I don't know. She's either the worst A-tier character or the best B-tier character. I'm not sure yet. I might move her around. But anyway, I'm not too keen on her. This is Sydney Barnes. I think she was the defense attorney, or she worked with someone in the courts. Anyway, she appeared once. This was the girl that told Ashley that all charges against her had been dropped in the murder of Detective Wilden. She's a C-tier character. For what she was a good character. She appeared once, and we saw her for about 30 seconds. But she was helpful, she was informative, and she was polite. And she ultimately propelled the story in a positive, influential way because she informed Ashley that he was innocent. So she is a C-tier character. She's better than Willa. I'm not saying a lot. Next we have Shauna Fring. And I initially was going to make her a D-tier character. But the more I think about her, the more I think she's a terrible person. She is one of the many black characters to die on the show. There were only a few that didn't. She's kind of a terrible person. She was Allie's childhood friend from Georgia who lived next door to her grandmother who, like, betrayed her. And then, like, who Alison sent to Rosewood to help her out and then fell in love with Jenna and then betrayed her and then tried to kill her because, like, Tammin Sursik was cuter than her, I guess. And then Aria used her kung fu lessons to push her, like, 5 meters off a stage, and she landed in the orchestra pit, but she broke her neck somehow. And she bled. I don't know. I never understood why, if she broke her neck, why she was bleeding. But there was blood under her. I think she landed on, like, a music stand. Because if we, like, I don't know. We would have to pull up the picture. Where's her body? Dead. Yeah, right here. No. She missed the music stand. But there's blood coming out of her for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, she's dead and she's a terrible person. So she's F tier. Next is Samara Cook. She was one of Emily's girlfriends. I think this was actually, like, Aria's babysitter that almost got with Ezra. Right? No! She is the, she's the one girl from the gay pride group on campus who tried to help Paige come out. And then, when she never came out, they hooked up instead. I forget who the babysitter that almost got with Ezra was.
I don't know, Mom. You made one heck of a mess.
But she's not on here because I forgot about her. Anyway, Samara's a Poggers character. She's a B-tier character. She was nice to Emily.
I like doing this. I'm thinking, I wonder what Chad...
They were a good couple. Their relationship ultimately got sabotaged by A, so that's why they never worked out. But, yeah. So.
I think that's why he was trying to get out, and I kept telling him no.
Yeah. I think ultimately their relationship would have lasted longer if it wasn't for A. I think they were really solid. So she's a B tier character. I can't quite put her in A tier. I can't find any convincing argument to put her in A tier, but she's definitely a solid B tier character. I like her more than Veronica. I might like her more than Spencer. I don't know. Next we have Hanna, who is my third favorite liar. Can we just get her over here? There we go. Hanna's amazing. Hanna's a lot of people's favorites because she is the most relatable. She's the most down to earth. She's the funniest. She's the most fashionable. And she has the most humbling backstory because she has a single mom and she was once fat. And she had her badass moments in season 7, which The Darkest Night, I die for that episode.
This is your chance to tell me the truth. Just admit it. Admit your AD.
It's pretty amazing. So, yeah, Hanna's an A tier character. She's not quite S tier in my opinion, but she is an A tier character. Next is Ruben Garfius. If you don't recognize that name, that's because that's not the name of the character, that's the name of the actor. He was credited as playing Cop in the episode Picture This, when I don't even actually remember him being in that episode. If he looks familiar to you like movie gremlins, that's because he was in Too Fast, Too Furious. He was one of the Mexican guys. He was the guy that rode in the car with Paul Walker when he was like, "You're a good driver, man." And then he got ejected into the ocean. The thing is he's not actually supposed to be in here. I used him as a placeholder, because he's supposed to be the cop he's supposed to be the PI hired by Caleb's mom, but I couldn't find a picture of him. But anyway, faceless private investigator in the Camaro in Picture This. He's a meh character. He was informative and helpful. He tracked down Caleb for his mom. I feel like he really got the short end of the stick. Hanna yelled at him, so I could put them next to each other and just imagine that face yelling at you. Anyway, so yeah. Next we have Ron Strauss. I think his name's Ron. This is Holden's dad. We see him once, and it's when they get back from Portugal and they meet Holden again. He's a D tier character. He's pretty forgettable. He's a nice guy, but he's pretty forgettable. It's the only time we see him, and he doesn't really leave that lasting of an impression. Honestly, you could have hired the guy from Modern Family to play him, and you could have also captured the middle-aged, middle-class dad vibe, which is what they were going for. I mean, he looks just like him. But yeah, so, you know. Next we have Dr. Robert Vargas. He was the doctor that helped Emily in season 3 or 4 when she fell on the rock and tore her shoulder. And he was a pretty solid character, except for the fact that he did the right thing and called Child Protective Services. Ultimately, he's an outlier, because when does anyone do the right thing on this show? So he's a pretty D-tier character. So, you know. Don't do the right thing, or else you're a piece of shit. Next we have Rebecca Breeds, Alison's lawyer, who's just ultimately an F-tier character. She was just a pretty terrible person. Yeah. She never really wanted to help Alison. She was just annoying every time we saw her. She was convinced that she was guilty. Instead of, actually working on the case, she was just trying to get Alison to take the plea bargain. So, she was not a good lawyer. And I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if she was, a state-appointed attorney. Because, yeah. just awful. Next we have Dr. Cochran, the man, not the woman, the dad. He was the doctor that oversaw the adoption of Spencer and Alex and Charlotte in Radley Sanitarium. Not only is he sketchy and a pervert, he's also an alcoholic, and he's just overall not a good person. And he says some weird, like, monologue about family.
Sure. Tell her that she can run from me and our history all she wants. She can even pretend she's someone completely different. But in the end, she's gonna want that family more than anything. You can't deny human nature. You always return to family in the end.
And that's the last time we see him. He shows up in one episode in 7B. And then we never hear from him again. So, he's pretty terrible. Next we have this guy. I forget what his name is, but he's the guy in season 1 that tells Spencer he won the award for the stolen paper. He's just pretty annoying. He's too happy.
I hope you're as proud of your friend as I am. Congratulations.
And he's not... I can't justify a reason to make him Chernobyl. But he's a pretty D-tier character. Speaking of D-tier characters, we have Zoe without the Y. Zoe with an E. This was the girl from... This was Emily's Habitat for Humanity supervisor in between seasons 2 and 3 that went to write her a college recommendation letter for Stanford. And she was okay. She was nice to Emily the one time they met. But she ultimately was just pretty forgettable. So she's a D-tier character. Next we have Hector Lime, who... I don't know where I want to put him. D's looking a little crowded, but I really can't make him a C-tier character. You know what? Yes, I can. He's eccentric. He's funny. He's a little bit annoying, but I think he's supposed to be. He's the guy that made the Melissa mask and the Alison mask. And then he made the Emily mask to, for the information. He was pretty unhelpful, but he did lie about keeping the molds, but that is kind of the name of the game. So overall, Hector Lime, season 3 or 4, whenever he showed up, just that weird, like, unidentifiable place between season 2.5 and season 4.5. He's a C-tier character. Next we have Vice Principal Tamborelli. He appears in one episode, and he's kind of a piece of shit, so he's going to be F-tier. This is the guy that, like, basically reminds me of every single administrator at my school. He was just, like, mean and rude to Emily and accused her of shit she didn't do.
If you're feeling unsafe and unwelcome, maybe it's because your behavior has made your teammates and other students at this school feel the same way. Now, you're not helping your cause by attacking me.
I wasn't.
You're no saint, Emily.
And then Mona found out that he was taking bribes from the football team. So he's just not a good guy. Next we have Regina Marin, which is Hannah's paternal grandmother. And she's an A-tier character. She's got queen energy. She's funny. She's classy. She's good to Hannah. Ashley really respects her. All the girls like her. So. I don't know how she made such a terrible son. Plus she told the funny Heshy story.
I'm sorry, how are we related to this person?
Next we have Quinn, which is Samara's other friend. That's the girl that saw Emily give Zoe her number and then told Samara, and that's why they broke up. She's got more of a personality than Zoe, and she doesn't say any more lines than she does. So ultimately, I'm gonna have to put her in C tier. She's just easy on the eyes as well, which definitely helps. Next we have the fake James Leland, which was the con artist trying to steal Esther Potter's money in season 1 or season 2 or whatever the hell it was. He eventually got spooked by Caleb and then disappeared into the ether. He's an F tier character because he's just scummy. So yeah. Next is, there's 2 of them on here for some reason, I don't know why, but this is the lady that owns the bead shop in season 1 that got paid off by Mona.
Not to worry, dear. I did exactly what you told me to do.
And it really just, like, jerked the girls around. And was just rude and mean and, like, not a good person. And she was working for A, so she's F tier. Next is Paige McCullers. And she's a darn tootin' character. She is, I was Team Paley for a long time until I was convinced to be Team Emerson. And now I don't know why I was ever not Team Emerson. But, out of all her relationships, her one with Paige was the longest, and it was my favorite for quite a while. And, while Paige has her fair share of issues, most, are derivative from being bullied by Alison. She's a good person who cares a lot about Emily. She's kind of gross sometimes, like, she's kind of mean and intrusive. And, like, just not. She just does very Paige-like things. Like when, like in season 7, when she looks through Alison's purse and finds the abortion pamphlet.
What are you doing?
That's kind of disgusting. But, other than that, she's a pretty darn tootin' character. I'd put her in A tier. So, yeah. It's been about 31 minutes. And I can't do this all in one sitting, or else I'm going to lose my frickin' mind. So I'm going to put a pin in it and come back to it later. Alright, fellas. We're back. The long sleep is over. If you're wondering why my face moved, well, it's just because it hits different up there. I don't know why, but we never went into presentation mode. That would probably help us. See, it's like dark mode. Oh god, no. Okay, anyway. So we have to continue. This lady's on here twice for some reason. We'll just put her in F tier twice, because fuck it. Next we have Jason DiLaurentis. He's a really cool guy. He's got a really good story. He's a recovering alcoholic. He's one of the most interesting of all the siblings. I really like his relationship with Ellie. It's very sisterly and brotherly.
Ever heard of knocking?
You want to keep me out, put a lock on it.
What are you and your stoner buddies doing behind your locked door?
You really want to know? Give me $20. I'm buying the beer tonight.
$20 for a secret? You're so cheap.
We're making a movie.
What kind of movie?
If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. This was on the porch.
Goodbye.
He's just a good character with a solid amount of secrets. He's a darn tootin' character. He is one of my favorite characters. I do like him more than Toby. I do like him more than Paige. That's looking okay. I'm thinking. I'm sorting. I'm sorting. Okay, we don't need to sort. Next we have Travis Hobbs, and you might be surprised by this, but I truly think Travis is an S tier character. He was Hannah's boyfriend while Ravenswood was tanking, and I think I liked him and Hanna immensely. This was my favorite Hanna ship. He was too pure for Rosewood, if we're gonna be completely real here. He was just way too pure for Rosewood. So, Hanna rubbed his bald head, and then he disappeared because Caleb came back, and they were hooking up.
Let me rub that bald head of yours.
And then Hanna turned into an alcoholic, and Travis fell into the ether like everybody else from season 4. But yeah, just a good stand-up guy. I mean, you'd be surprised that I put him there, but I truly think Travis is an S-tier character. Honest to God. Next we have Nigel Wright, which I found it, like, I just thought it was really important that I use this picture of him. Right next to this picture of him, there was, like, a nice, like, chiseled, smoldering picture of him, but I just felt like it was important for me to use this one. Especially since that smile is actually very genuine. That's not from a blooper or anything. That's actually him. Yeah, that's from a scene in the show. Also, what's really weird is this guy's, they recasted him. This was the guy that, he was the guy that was walking Jenna at Alison's funeral, so that's kind of weird. But Nigel, he's not quite the most terrible character, but I think he's definitely one of the worst D-tier characters. He was the guy at the airstrip that Charlotte bribed to fake the flight plan. And they did have some interesting interactions. I liked, when he turned and called her on the phone, I was like, oh! And then he had some moves too when he flipped that bookcase and like blocked the doorway from Caleb and Toby. That was all in all a good episode. That was all in all just a good episode. But yeah, that's Nigel Wright. Next we have Nicole Gordon, which was Ezra's girlfriend, Emily's Habitat for Humanity person, I think. How did she exist? Yeah! Friend of Emily Fields. In season 6, she was cool. But after the time jump, she just became annoying. How she, was always flying off the handle and shit. Much like she is in her picture right there. But, yeah, she's a D-tier character. Maybe a C-tier. This is Riley. This is Aria's one-night stand, and honestly, he's a B-tier character. He's a good, wholesome, down-to-earth guy who has a guitar named Antonio, and overall, he's just a solid character. He's only in one episode. He's faking being on a college tour because he doesn't want to tell his parents that he got into music school. But he's a solid guy. He's a good character. So, yeah. I understand Riley. Next is Pam Fields, I guess. And I would say that Pam Fields is a B-tier character. She's very civil, but she is definitely one of the more boring parents. Plus, she was a little homophobic for longer to Emily. I mean, she fits the bill on who she's supposed to be. Like, the show writers, they casted her and wrote her perfectly. But she is kind of a boring parent. So, yeah. I did like her interactions with Alison, though.
Thanks for coming so early.
Yeah, of course.
She doesn't know you're here, right?
No. I hate lying to her.
No, she'll find out the truth soon enough. You know, it's important to me. And you're giving me peace of mind. Just knowing that Emily's gonna be taken care of.
Like I promised you. I will always be here for her. Thank you.
This is Eddie Lamb, and he's a very average character. He just was kind of... He wasn't as woke as a lot of the other medical professionals on the show. So I just feel like he's too unimpressive to be D tier. He's got to be like right in the middle, in my opinion. Next we have Kenneth DiLaurentis, which I was looking for pictures of Kenneth when I was making this tier list. And honestly, none of the pictures really excited me that much. So I decided to use an IMDb picture of Jim Abel, his actor, instead. And it just kind of cropped like that. And I'm kind of with it. I'm not even going to lie on him. Like, I'm kind of with, like, having half his face gone. And honestly, he's an F tier character. He's, not the worst parent. Like I said, him and Veronica got the really bad end of the stick on all the incest stuff. But he definitely has done some shitty things, like lie and, you know, fake having a child, and, yeah. So he's got a case of the self-preservation. So, yeah, did I start recording? I did, thank God. Next we have Yvonne Phillips. She was another black character that died on the show. You know, do I really like Yvonne more than Spencer? You know, I really think I do. A lot of people thought Yvonne was annoying, but I honestly really liked her. She was really pretty, and she was... Ow! I pinched myself with a Hanna bracelet. And she was very nice and wholesome. And I really, you know, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I really like her. I really was here for her with Toby. I really was. You know what? Let's put them together. Let's just... Prison Toby. Let's just put them together. They deserve to be together. And her death was really, really sad. And, Toby never recovered from it because the rest of the show just got rushed. Anyway, next we have Garrett's mom. She never said a word. She was just a corpse. But, she's a bruh character. She just kind of existed. She would be a meh character, except for the fact that, like, even as a corpse, she conspired against the liars because she housed information. The little slip under the wrist thing. So, yeah, she's a bruh character. Next we have May Horowitz, the teacher who was always in the show for some reason. Even in season 7, she even made the time jump. And, honestly, she's a pretty broad character, too. I was gonna put her in meh, except for the fact I can't find a convincing argument that she's just okay. She's just kind of boring, and the only thing I really remember about her is her interactions with, Paige and Alison and Emily in season 7 in the faculty meetings. So, she's just kind of there. Next we have Nick McCullers, which is Paige's dad, and he's a pile of shit. He thinks that Paige is entitled, and he thinks that Emily is getting special treatment just because she's gay. And he's a really massive homophobe, and I'm just not really here for it. He's just kind of a piece of shit. Next we have Miranda Collins. She was the Ravenswood girl. And she was in Pretty Little Liars for a short amount of time, just to kind of send Caleb off. And I would call her F tier, because she's useless. I wouldn't say she's exactly maybe C tier. Got the picture of Nigel. I do think she's D tier. She's pretty, but which would kind of be C tier, and she is the reason that Trana existed because she stole Caleb away. But she's just kind of annoying. Not gonna lie on him. Like, the acting's not really good. She's just kind of sandpaper. So Miranda, D tier. Next we have, I'm not even sure if that's Cindy or Mindy, but it doesn't matter. They're both F tier characters. We're just gonna put them next to each other. They're both just really shitty, just annoying characters. And they're just mean and vile and stupid. Next we have Miles Corbin. It's the private investigator that Spencer hired to find Toby when he was on the A-Team. Honestly, I really like his energy. He's a meh character. I will give him a meh rating. I really like his energy. He's a nice guy. He's very sympathetic towards Spencer. He doesn't really try to fuck her out of too much money like that Jonah dude did. Like, honestly, I'm here for Miles Corbin. He's a good guy.
Can I give you a piece of professional advice? My line of work, people I follow, criminals, scumbags, lowlifes, all of them.
Okay, so?
So, never once have any of those guys bought hydrangeas before skipping town. You let me know about the key.
I like his energy. Next we have Mike Montgomery, Aria's little brother. He's definitely the most useless out of all the siblings in the show, and he just kind of comes and goes. He's only in like 20-some episodes, which I think is really, really dumb. Just because, like, out of all the siblings, it makes the most sense for him to be a series regular because he's a full-time student at Rosewood. We never saw him in the time jump, and he was just kind of there. But I really like his interactions with Aria, so I'll give him a C. I think he's a meh character. I don't like him as much as Tom. I'll put him, like, right there. That's good and wholesome. There we go. Okay. Next we have Meredith Sorensen, who I always liked. She's the Hollis student that Byron was boning, and is kind of the root of most of the evil in Season 3B. She takes a teaching job at, like, Rosewood, and then moves in with Byron after the divorce, and then she goes off her meds, falls off the rockers, and then just kind of disappears. She goes back to Maine, and is probably in an insane asylum there. I think she's a badass, and, like, I feel very similarly about her and Jackie, just kind of badass, annoying women, like evil women. But Meredith, I don't know. She's not horrible because I like her in, like, an evil way, but I wouldn't call her a C-tier character. She does get some intelligence points for, like, spiking Aria and looking for the journal pages, which I really don't know why she was doing. Next we have Maya St. Germain, Emily's first real girlfriend. Another black character that perished unexpectedly on the show. Murdered by another black character. The show's really racist. She's definitely a B-tier character. I liked her and Emily together. There were just people that I liked Emily more with. I think it's fitting that she goes next to Pam because they stood off so much. So yeah, she's a pretty poggers character. There's really nothing I dislike about her. She's just not my favorite. But she's solid for what she is. This girl is F tier. You can't see her in the picture, and I feel like that's fitting. This is Martha. She's the bitch that owns the doll shop that just lies to the girls and is, like, on Mona's payroll, just like the bead shop lady. She's just kind of a piece of shit. This is Marion Kavanaugh, Toby's mama, who gets pushed off the roof. She is one of the, if not the most caring parents on the show, and she was murdered and then it was made to look like a suicide. So it was very, very sad. And I would give her A tier, except for the fact that we didn't see more of her. So she is a B tier character. Oh, I threw up in my mouth. Rest in peace, Marion. Next we have Malcolm Cutler, which is Ezra's son, who turns out not to be a son. And I made it a point to find a picture of him with the original voice, like with the original actor, and not the one with the long hair, the one that talked and did the most things. I just thought it'd be funny if I used this one. I just, but Malcolm, he's a C tier character. I mean, he's a kid. Like, what are you gonna do? He was funny. He wasn't annoying. Like, he wasn't an annoying kid. So he has that going for him. But you know who was annoying? His mom. I was originally gonna make her D tier, but on God, Maggie's just F tier character. She's just a disgusting person. She got out-bluffed by Diane, and then she lied to Ezra about Malcolm being his, and then she tried to take Malcolm away from him and, like, did so, I believe. So she's kind of just terrible. Not really gonna lie. Like, she's kind of just awful. Next we have Linda Tanner. Oh, shit my pants. Linda's also an F-tier character. I literally think she's worse than Wilden. She just has no regard for, like, ethics at all. And, she's just a very awful person and character. She bullies the girls. She doesn't believe them. In Season 7, she treated them like shit, even though she literally saved them from an underground bunker. She's just a bad person, and doesn't really have an interest in doing her job. Just kind of pushing people around. She's literally worse than Wilden. Next we have Dr. Palmer. He's a mech character. He was Marion's doctor at Radley, who developed Alzheimer's and drove an Oldsmobile that Toby tried to break into for information, got set up by Cece, and then, he's probably dead. But he has pretty bad Alzheimer's. And, yeah. So, he's in a memory care facility. He didn't really do anything but provide some good information. There were some good wholesome moments where, like, he thought that Spencer was Marion, and he was like, yes, keep playing the piano. Will Toby be coming to visit us? But, yeah. Next is Lorenzo Calderone, Alison's boyfriend for a short period of time. Or, like, they wouldn't really call him, like, a boyfriend-girlfriend, but they dated. He's one of the few black characters on the show that survived. I'm here for Lorenzo. I think he's a great character. I liked him and Allison together, not as much as I liked Emerson, of course, but he's up there. He's definitely up there. And then, he was in the Time Jump, and then he wasn't, but he was mostly a 6A character. He was Toby's partner, and, it was really wholesome. Allison actually, like, really liked him, which I thought was cute and wholesome. So yeah, he's cool. We did Ron Strauss already, right? Yeah, there he is. Next we have Logan Reed. He's the messenger that A hired to drop off the money when all the shit with Ian was going on and that whole staging.
Look, son, he paid me to drop off this bag to pick up a package. He found me online. My name is Logan Reed.
He works at the Speed Demon. He's definitely an F-tier character. He's just he's just very uninteresting. And he's very unpoggers. Leona Vanderwaal, Mona's mother. I don't know. I think she's a B-tier character just because she really cares about her daughter. And, she's really... I liked her and Hannah's interactions.
Here you go. Thank you, Mrs. V. And they are still my favorite.
She was really only in 2 or 3 episodes, but even though she was only in 2 or 3 episodes, like, Sydney Penny just stole the show. She was just kind of, like, awesome.
Mrs. Vanderwaal? I came to pay my respects. To tell you one more time that I had nothing to do with your daughter.
Where's my daughter? Where's her body?
And I always really liked Leona. She was just cool. Sucks that we never got to meet Mona's dad. But we never got to meet Jenna's mom either. Or Toby's dad, but at least they talked about Toby's dad. But, yeah. Next is Catherine Daly. She's the senator's daughter, or the congressman's daughter, whoever the fuck that wore Hannah's designs. She's just kind of a bra character. She's really pretty, but, like, at the same time, she's just kind of boring. And I think that's probably because she's a real person and not an actor. So, yeah. But she was very nice to Hannah and Mona. Next is Johnny Raymond. He's a B-tier character. You know what? He might be darn tootin'. You know, I'm not sure. You know what? I fucking like B-tier. Johnny's a cool guy. Johnny was like... Spencer's season 5 fling when she was cheating on Toby for like the millionth time. And he was the kind of rebel one who they did the mural at Hollis, the vandalism, and then they broke into the thing together, and then Toby arrested him. Johnny was just a cool guy who kind of made Spencer think outside the box, and he was just a nice guy. Plus, he was smart. He did the thing with the tuning fork and the whisper thing, and the... So, I'm here for Johnny. He's a cool guy. He lived in the barn for a while. Next we have Jonah, which is the private investigator. At least I think that's Jonah. You know, I'm actually not sure. I think it's Jonah. Hold on. Yeah, that's Jonah. So this is the informant private investigator that Allison hired as Vivian Darkbloom to see if he could trace the number. See if we could trace Mona's number when she was getting text before she disappeared from A. He's just kind of not a good person. He was mean, he had attitude, he wanted the money, and then he was just kind of, all he gave him was like a fucking address, and he was just kind of not okay. Like, he was just kind of a jerk. Next we have Jessica dilaurentis, and... Man, I'm here for Jessica. Like, I really want to put her in A tier, but, like, I'm here for Jessica. I love Jessica so much. I think she is one of the best parents on the show, despite the fact that she covered up her daughter's murder, and I'll tell you exactly why. She wasn't crazy. She grieved in her own way. It was unique because she was the only parent that had a unique, special relationship with each one of the girls. She was very nice, she was wholesome, she gardened, she cooked. I think she was a good mother to Allison, like, disciplinary-wise, like, when she was alive.
Freeze! Okay, fine. One night.
And, I just think she's a great character. She holds a special place in my heart, and I really do think she's an S-tier character. And her death hits me really hard. I always cry when she dies because Allison never got to re-meet her. And she knew Allison was alive and she never stopped looking for her. She had that cellar under Aunt Carol's house.
Why did your mom have all these photos of us?
And me when I was searching for you guys. Damn, my hair looked good. The person my mom was looking for was me. The last memory I have of her was when she was burying me alive. She knew I got out. She never stopped searching.
And, yeah. Jessica, like, she wasn't crazy, she just grieved in her own way. She was just a good person, guys. She really was. I'm here for Jessica. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back. If everything's looking a little different, it's because we changed... we added a couple new characters that I forgot about. And then we also changed, I felt really compelled to change all the pictures of the liars to their pictures in their Season 7 promos. Hannah's and Spencer's were already there, so I just had to change Aria. Or Aria's was there too, I just had to change Emily and Alison's. So we've added some new characters. So, yeah. Next up, I guess, is Simone. That was Aria's babysitter in Season 1 that, like, wanted to get with Ezra, and then Aria kind of, like, flew off the handle. She's apparently a published author. I feel like she's not really an F-tier character. But I don't know. She's not as bad as she could be, so I'll put her in D tier. Next we have Emily.
Gay!
And let me be very, very clear that Emily used to be my least favorite liar. Maybe second only to Spencer. Just because I thought she was really uninteresting. But this most recent time I watched the show about like 5 years later, I think Emily's the greatest character of all time. I think she's just so relatable and so lovable and just like the best. I'm gonna put her, dude, I'm gonna put her in front of Hannah. I never thought I'd do this, but I'm actually gonna put her in front of Hannah. Man, like, just Emily was just built different on this rewatch. I used to just think she was annoying and boring, but I used to shit on her so much, but I have this newfound appreciation for her. I used to be like, oh, I love Emerson, but I'm not really big on Emily. Now I just, dude, Emily's the most relatable person ever. I'm gonna lie on him. Next we have Pepe the dog, and I'm gonna be honest with you, he's a C tier character. This is the dog that Jessica adopted, and then before she was buried, and then the dog like dug her up.
Pepe? Pepe, what's wrong? How does she know his name? Whose dog is that? Alison's. When did she have time to get a dog?
And then it just kind of disappeared. I don't really know when they got rid of the dog or why, but I mean, I'm sure I know why. I'm sure it's because it dug up a body. But yeah. Rest in peace, Pepe. He was a good doggy. Next we have Kendra. She's that one girl that, like, did drugs at the playground, and then the girls, like, harassed into being Alison's, like, alibi.
Hey. I'm Emily. This is Spencer. Hi. We noticed that patch on your jacket. We were wondering if you were part of the youth group. Why? Did you ever spend time at Riverwood Playground? We're looking for someone who might have been there on Thanksgiving. I wasn't. Okay. Well, one of our friends was, and she thought she might have heard someone who would have seen her that night. So I just want to ask you if you told her.
And she was kind of annoying, but I wouldn't really make her like a D tier or like an F tier character. I'm just gonna kind of put her in D tier. She was in like one episode and she was just kind of meh. Next we have Jordan Hobbert, which is Hannah's chiseled Aussie fiance businessman from like the flash forward. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Jordan's a B tier character. Well, let me look at everyone else who I have in B tier. Or C tier, I mean. Oh, Tom, Mike, Talia. I don't really know if I like him more than those guys. So I'm gonna have to put Jordan in C tier, just because I feel like I like him but not as much as some of the guys I have in C tier. I could maybe make Talia a B tier character. I don't know. We'll think about it. Anyway, Jordan was a nice guy. He was really sweet to Hannah. And, but yeah, he just wasn't Caleb.
This is where we first met. And now we don't have a beginning anymore because they tore it down. I mean, who do you people think you are?
Hey. What's wrong? Tell me and I'll fix it.
I was gonna make it perfect this time. You know, everybody gets what they want. God, I had it all figured out and now it's ruined. It's gone and it'll never work now.
We'll just go someplace else.
They'll just tear that down too. Don't you get it? I'm a one-woman demolition derby. Okay, I can't do this to you.
What do you want? Hannah, I would move heaven and earth for you. You know that, don't you?
Yes. You do, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, come on. This can't be it.
So the show kind of just vaporized him. Oh yeah, Jordan, C tier. Next is Jamie Doyle, and I'm very confident in saying that Jamie is a B tier character. This is Caleb's father, his absentee father, who pretended to be his uncle and then came back and then got framed by A. Let me just tell you that Jamie is a stand-up guy. He's made some mistakes, but you can tell that he really, really cares about Caleb. And I like Jamie. He's not in the show for very long, but I honestly just think Jamie's a stand-up character. Next we have James Nealon, which is Mona's fake attorney who was working with the Varjak alias. And he was kind of just the stem of, like, several of the Season 5 plot holes that just fell into the earth. We never found out who the Varjak alias was. We never found out who he was working for, why he delivered those blueprints. We just don't know. And other than that, he was just kind of an asshole. So he created a plot hole. He was an asshole. He gets F tier. Next is Jake, and Jake is an A tier character. I like him more than you. Maybe you. Maybe I'll put him between Paige and Jason, or between Paige and Toby, somewhere around there. Jake, in my opinion, is Jake, in my opinion, is Aria's best boyfriend. I ship them the most. I think they should have ended up together. He was only in 9 episodes. Aria was hooking up with Ezra, and then he just kind of disappeared and broke up with her, and then Cece put, like, some nails in a bag, and then he kicked it, and then he, like, got sliced in the foot. But honest to God, Jake is funny. He's very down to earth. He's a stand-up guy, and I was there for him and Aria. I think Jack Rhea is the best out of all of the Aria ships. Next is Jackie Molina, and I'm not even gonna lie, Jackie's a C tier character. She is a witch, but in a fantastic way. She is badass. She's calculating, she's manipulative, she's cute. She's one of those, she's got like an actress that just they pulled out of soap operas, like she's kind of like Paloma Guzman's just kind of a soap opera girl, and then they took her and then she was in like 6 episodes and then she fell off the face of the earth and went back to doing like Bold and the Beautiful or whatever. But I'm really here for Jackie. I like Jackie, guys. I think she's a badass character. I definitely like her better than Maggie and Meredith. Let me tell you that. Next is Ian Thomas, and I'll throw him in B tier for now. Honestly, I'm here for Ian. I think he was actually a good guy who really cared about Spencer. I think he was just guilty of what a lot of people in the show were guilty of, and that was wanting to have sex with Alison. I don't blame him for going crazy and trying to push Spencer off the bell tower. Like, if I was being harassed and framed, I would probably snap too.
Melissa left her phone here. We've been trying to call you.
You know, I got the strangest text message today. The number was blocked, but I can reply to it. Yeah, asking for money. That was clever. Your friends waiting for me?
Look, there's been an accident.
Yeah, I know. I got the messages. Just been waiting for you to leave the hospital. Yeah, Melissa would want me to take care of this. She'll understand.
You gonna take care of me like you took care of Allison? Oh, is that why you killed her? Because you found your home movies? Do you want some popcorn to go with that? Come on. Spence?
I gave you the videos. What do you want?
Spencer?
So my mom knows I'm here. She knows I'm in the church.
Pick the perfect place for your suicide.
It's Ian. Call 911.
Oh, you didn't mean to hurt Allison? Huh? It was an accident. You pushed her and she fell.
Is that what happened?
Should have seen her head, but she never woke up.
Allison died of suffocation.
Yeah, the letter that I wrote on your computer won't answer all the questions, but it'll answer enough. The guilt was just too much for you.
Please, if you love my sister, you won't do this.
I'm doing it because I love her.
Let go of me!
Please don't! No! Please!
What are you doing here?
I mean, the videos were kind of creepy and douchey. I'm gonna make him C tier. But I honestly believe he was a stand-up guy that really cared about everyone until they started trying to frame him. Or Mona started trying to frame him. But I feel like just every scene he was in always kind of put a smile on my face and was just always kind of badass. So yeah, Ian's a solid C tier character. I might make him higher. I like him more than Tom, but not as much as Talia. So he's gonna go right there. Next is Isabel, and she's F tier, of course. I don't really feel like I have to explain this one. She's like Kate, but worse. And Kate I already know is going to be F tier. So yeah, she's just deceitful, lying. She's just a terrible person. Next we have Tippy the Bird, and on God, he's a D tier character. They're a D tier character. I don't know if it's a male or female. I guess it doesn't matter. Tippy definitely wasn't the worst character. But they were just, like, annoying with that phone number and shit.
Hey, what's this?
It's not a song that Tippy's singing.
Next we have Holden Strauss. And I'm here for Holden. He's either, like, a high B or a low A. On God, I'm not even gonna lie on him. I kind of like him more than Spencer. So in that case, I think I can put him in low A. I think Holden's a great fella. I liked his friendship with Aria. I liked their interactions. I liked how he kind of knew all the other girls, too. He was just a good guy. I'm glad he came back in the flash forward. He was just like a... He was just a chill guy, you know what I mean? Like, he was just one of those solid, like, good, respectful guys on the show. And he was funny. Next is Harold Crane, creepy Lost Woods guy who turned into a janitor at Rosewood High. He is by far an F-tier character. He is just creepy and terrible. Next is Carla Grunwald. I feel like Grunwald is low C, high D. I am recording, right? Okay, thank God. I got the Emily bracelet today, too, so... I feel like Grunwald can get a little boring and really, like, makes me yawn, but she does kind of steal every scene that she's in. And when, like, Noel makes her head explode in, like, season 7, that was kind of badass.
Okay. Hanna, we're all here. What's the emergency? I had a nightmare that Caleb was run over by a car, but he's okay. And then Grunwald showed up and told me he's not okay, and then No-Con showed up and made Grunwald's head explode.
To be fair, that does sound like an emergency.
Okay, can you go over that again, more slowly? And what exactly are you saying?
That No-Con is AD. You guys, I told you last night. He stole Mary Drake's file, he hurt Yvonne, he called Dr. Cochran.
Wait, we weren't even together last night.
No, we were in my dream. Catch up. You guys, he burned us out of the storm cellar and he wrote on that window. He probably killed Sarah, and we know he's bad because way back when he pushed that sorority girl down the stairs.
Hanna, what about Sarah telling me we're looking for the same thing you are? I mean, she and Jenna were working with Noel.
To find Charlotte's killer. And that still leaves room for No-Con to be AD.
And what about the storm cellar?
He's the only one who would write, I see you.
Maybe?
No, you guys.
What about Caleb? How's he doing on breaking the code in the files?
Not good. But what does that matter anyways? You guys are never gonna realize that Noel is the one behind everything.
Never say never.
Oh, thanks, Pam. Hey, what else is there to look into? Nothing. We're at a dead end.
No, not exactly. Aria and I have a doctor's appointment to go to.
And plus, it's Meg Foster, people. She's cool. So I would give her, like, lowest C, highest D. She's alright. Next is Bethany Young, and she is by far F tier. She is the root of all evil on the show. She killed Toby's mom. She tried to frame Alice. She tried to kill Allison. She tried to frame Jessica. She was just on God, like, toxic person. She framed Charlotte. And, yeah, he's just a terrible person. Next we have Ezra. And Ezra is... He's like... low C, high D. Ezra's just a terrible person. He's one of my least favorite characters on the show. He's unfortunately credited with being in every single episode, strangely enough. I wish he would have been A and stayed A, so him and Aria would have fucked off. I think he ruined Aria. Aria was totally cool with someone her own age, but Ezra exists. And on God, he's got like the personality of sandpaper.
I heard from you, Penn, this morning, and I didn't get it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Are there any other schools?
He's just annoying and terrible and just makes me yawn. He's just a really not cool person. Next is Eric Mendoza, that's Talia's husband, and I'm honestly here for him. I'm gonna make him a D tier character. The shit that he said to Emily, on God, wasn't really his fault. Talia was lying to him, so he didn't really know. So, yeah. but he's still kind of boring and only shows up in one scene. Next we have Jenna Marshall, and she is an S-tier character. Jenna is my third favorite character on the show. I think she is the most badass character on the show. One of the most badass. Mona exists. So, yeah. I think she's great. I think she has depth. I think she's calculating. She's just badass. She steals every scene that she's in. I love the scene where it's revealed that she can see and she hits the fly on the mirror. I just think that's just awesome.
My heart is jumping and you started something with them there eyes. Oh, they're gonna sparkle, they're gonna bubble. They're gonna get you in a whole mess of trouble. You're overworking them, there's danger lurking in them there eyes.
And I really liked her vibes in Season 3 when she had her eyesight, and I wish she could have kept her eyesight. But Jenna's just a badass. And they wounded her. It was sad. Speaking of my favorite characters, next we have Alison, and she is my second favorite character on the show. Mona, Alison, and Jenna are my three favorite characters on the show. And on God, Alison is... I don't even know where to start. She is the best, like, one of the second best characters on the show. She is awesome. She steals every scene that she's in, and her personality is not limited to being the queen bitch. She has this evolution as a person and as a character where she grows up and matures, and when she develops feelings for Emily and starts having a regard for her friends and other people, and I just feel like her conscience is like one of the greatest arcs of the entire show. And I love the little scenes in 7A when she was jealous of Emily, or when she was jealous of Paige.
Thanks, Paige. Stay as long as you'd like. Yes. There's some breakfast stuff in here if you're hungry. I couldn't be more nauseated. How much longer are we going to be penned up in here like veal?
Terry says we can't leave until they find Noel.
Well, it's hard enough going through this without being gawked at.
You mean Paige? I invited her.
Why? She has nothing to do with this.
She's here to support us. Don't forget she was targeted by A when...
Fine. I just think it's a little pathetic that she's using this to get close to you. Doesn't she know that you're dating someone?
Yeah, well, things with Sabrina are kind of on pause. I can't talk to her about this.
It's all over the news.
And I know I'll have to deal with it, okay? But it's easier with Paige. She's been through this before. She understands it. And me.
As I was saying, thought this could be an informal meeting. No bad ideas. The way Mrs. Horowitz, May, explained it to me, we need to make it easier for the parents to interact with the teachers. Emily and I were talking about how we could use social media.
I just want to say how great it is that Paige is really pitching in on this, really taking the lead.
Thanks, Allison.
Seriously, though, it's such a step forward for you. I mean, usually people who are new, they, I don't know, go with something safer like a pep rally, but you're really pushing your personal comfort zone.
It's not that big a deal.
Oh, don't be modest. Some of us here remember what you used to be like. Don't we, Emily? I mean, May, you remember when she was a student. We always wondered where all that aggression came from. Stuff that made her such a great competitor.
I remember she had a lot of team spirit.
Yeah, but it was more than that. Right, Emily?
I bet Mrs. Horowitz remembers how you were too, Allison. You're pretty unforgettable.
Thank you.
Wasn't a compliment.
How about we take a 5-minute break, I think?
Sure. If Paige thinks she needs a break, I understand her feeling a little overwhelmed.
Stop it!
Okay, let's shelve this discussion and move on to the bake sale.
So, she, like, started kind of acting like a bitch. But on God, I'm here for Emerson. They are my favorite ship. And I'm here for Allie. She's amazing. I love Sasha. I love her so much. But yeah, those are my 3 favorite characters in the show right there. Mona, Allie, Jenna. Call it. Next we have Dr. Sullivan. I think she's definitely a B-tier character. She's a solid character. She cares about the girls. She tried to help them, and then she got attacked by Mona. I don't like how they were just like, he threatened my son.
Dr. Sullivan? Are you all okay? I tried to find you. What did she do to you? Where have you been?
She threatened my son. I didn't think I had a choice. I needed to leave. I'm so very sorry.
And then we never heard about her son again. So that was kind of stupid. But plus, if you see Annabeth Gish in real life, you would not even know it was the same person. First of all, she is inked from head to toe. Like, she is just... Well, I thought she was. Come on, guys. Where are the tattoos? I thought there were tattoos, people. Guess not. Whatever. Okay, anyway. Sullivan, cool, poggers, B-tier character. She's the only therapist in the show. It seems like everyone in the fucking whole city goes to her. Next we have Mary Drake. I think she's definitely a C-tier character. She's strange and makes little to no sense. The only reason I'm not putting her lower is because after my baby Jessica gets murdered by Mary, Andrea Parker gets to come back by playing Mary Drake. So Jessica's presence does get to live on through her, and I enjoy her in that sense. But other than that, just kind of an uninteresting character that makes no sense. She hurt my baby Allison and my baby Jessica. She tried to frame it on Peter, which I can get behind, but yeah. She's just one of the root of many of the problems in the show, and she's just kind of uninteresting. Next we have Jesse, the new guidance counselor at the school that takes over for the old dude and starts talking to Mike and hooks him up with Mona. I think he's definitely a C-tier character. He's cool, he's fun, he's just not around a lot. So yeah, I can't really put him higher. Next we have Charlotte DeLaurentis, or CC Drake. And she's honestly a D-tier character. There are some moments, like, in my most recent rewatch, I found myself kind of vibing with her and some of the badass things that she said, and just vibing with Vanessa Ray, like, in general.
It's your last night on Earth. Who in this room do you sleep with?
Sarasi. No one deserves to die a virgin. Have you ever been arrested?
Funny you asked that, since you dared me to steal a car last time we played and then called the cops.
I did, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
Ever make a sex tape?
But overall, I just can't get behind her as a character. I think if she was just CC Drake and working for Ren was AD, I think the story would have been so much better. But she was kind of funny and quirky and badass, and I really like her voice. It's very dark.
I know who killed that girl.
It's very cool. But I can't justify making her a C-tier character. I really can't. I feel like they kind of goofed with that A reveal, so, you know. I did like how it all circled around to her. Like, we thought that CC could never be A because they suspected her of being A, and then she wasn't, so we're like, and then we found out it was actually her all along. Next we have Harold, which is on here twice for some reason, so I'm just going to make him F tier again. So, yeah. Next is Douglas Sirk. He's the prosecuting attorney in the People v. DeLaurentis case, when Allison was being charged with the murder of Mona Vanderwaal. And I would say that he's a solid high D-tier character. He did his job. He proved Allison guilty before she was later acquitted. But, yeah. He's just a solid D-tier character. Plus, did Mona ever face any charges on, like, faking her own death?
Well, did you feel any safer at the spa? Safer than I feel being in the same zip code as Allison.
Mona.
I sent her to jail, Hannah, for months.
There's no way she's not plotting some kind of revenge. That's what you're worried about? A is still out there. You've got bigger worries than Allison. Yeah, I know. When I leave here, I have to go straight to the police station. They might still press charges against me for being dead when I wasn't.
Well, that's not a crime. That's just being stupid.
No, Han, when there's a full-on investigation that costs the taxpayers more than our new sewer system, it's a crime. And I don't think I'll have any cops looking out for me.
They're looking for A. We all are.
Even more reason for Allison to want to hurt me.
I hope she didn't. She's Mona. Either way, big plot hole. Next is Dominic, whatever his name is. He's the professional Olympic swim coach that Paige hired for Emily, but he didn't really know that, like, her shoulder was all messed up when she fell on the rock. So he was nice and helpful, but he didn't know the full story. So he's not quite F tier, but he's just kind of also uninteresting. So he's kind of a D tier character. But, yeah. Oops, clicked the wrong button. Next is Diane Fitzgerald, Ezra's mom. She's a terrible person. She makes problems and people go away with money. She's pretentious. She's a bitch. She eats pizza with a fork. And she's just terrible. Next is Darren Weldon, which honestly I'm kind of here for. I would make him a C tier character. Well, is there anyone in C tier that I like more than Weldon? I would say that I like Meredith more than Weldon, maybe. I would put Weldon in high D. Weldon, I feel like he's just, like, yeah, he's a terrible person, don't get me wrong, but he is kind of a badass. And I'm kind of here for that energy, just the badass, scumbag, like, villain energy. Like, I'm just kind of here for it. Like, I'll put him in C tier. Like, I'll do that. For now, I'll put him in C tier. And fun fact, spoiler for the books, at the end of Unbelievable, which is the 4th book, and the end of Unbelievable is the same as 2X25. When Mona falls off the cliff, she dies and breaks her neck. She doesn't live, and it's actually Darren Weldon, not Barry, that declares that she's dead. Next we have Noel Kahn, and he's an S tier character. He is my favorite guy on the show. He is just a badass. He is my 4th favorite character. He is just a badass.
Bitches never understood me. I always get what I want.
He's rich.
Hi, Emily. I always knew you'd never get out of Rosewood.
He's cocky.
Miss me? Did you miss me?
He's attractive. He is just everything. Like, he is the perfect Rosewood boy. Like, he is just sneaky.
It's too dangerous, and I'm not taking any more chances, okay? It's too dangerous, and I'm not taking any more chances, okay? Shauna, please, don't fight me on this.
He has a bunch of secrets.
Why would Allie trust Noel Kahn? Because he has secrets, too.
I can't talk him up enough. He is just the best guy on the show. He's just a badass. He's rich. He reminds me of Peter Kavinsky from To All the Boys, if Kavinsky was, like, evil. But, yeah. Man, I really made a mistake putting so many characters on here. But I'm still wearing my Emily bracelet, and I'm wearing my Emerson shirt. It's 5 years old, so it's getting a little crusty, but it is the only official Emerson t-shirt, and it's one of 4,000, and I am happy to own it. But God, We still have 4 more rows of people. But I'm hoping... Man, I'm hoping this can be it. So, it looks like this is Cyrus Petrillo. And he's like a high D tier character. He was interesting in like a dark, shady kind of way. But he was also kind of a piece of shit and also abused Allison, which doesn't fly. I love her so much. So yeah, Cyrus was just a D tier character. He also kind of had something to do with the whole Varjak thing, which is the biggest fucking gaping plot hole of the entire show. I think we've rated all the liars, haven't we? Aria. We still have to do Aria. Where is Aria? There she is. Anyway, next is Colin. This was Spencer's fling from season 5 when she went to London. And honestly, I was thinking about putting him in C tier. But on God, I just feel like he's a D tier character. He was just pretty forgettable and boring. I mean, he was cool, but... Well, you know... I don't know. Maybe he's C tier. He was kind of funny at times. God, Emily. I'm here for Emily this time, man. Like, Emily's just... Next we have Coach Fulton. And she's definitely a C tier character. She was nice to Emily and Paige and really tried wholeheartedly to work out their issues when all the homophobia stuff was going on.
I got a message. You wanted to see me?
Yeah. Have a seat, girls. An incident involving a homophobic comment has been brought to my attention. Now, we have a zero-tolerance policy.
Coach Fulton, whatever happened between us, it's over now.
I need to know what happened, and then I'll decide if it's over.
There's really nothing to talk about.
In that case, you can go, Paige. Emily, if you don't tell me what happened, there's nothing I can do to help you.
It was just a misunderstanding. Can I go?
So I would say that she's pretty solidly an C tier character. Next is Claire, one of Sarah Harvey's friends. And she was the one who, like, it was revealed that she, like, wished she was dead and, like, blah, blah, blah.
And I'm so tired of being Sarah's friend. It just sucks the life out of you. I understand how you feel. No, you don't. I wished Sarah was dead before she disappeared.
And honestly, I don't know. I feel like she's F tier. Or maybe she's D tier. I can't put her in the same tier as Zach or Charlotte. I just can't. She's F tier. She was just mean and rude. Next we have Clark. I actually don't know if he ever had a last name. But he is one of the few black characters that survived on the show. He was the undercover cop in season 6 that was befriending Aria.
Wait a minute. That whole time in the dark room when I met you at Hollis? How?
Undercover, Aria.
And working for Reese Matthews, and we never really figured out why. But that's okay. Clark, I would say, is a don't know. I think the reveal of him being a cop is somewhat interesting. But I just think other than that, he was pretty bland. So, yeah. I would put him like high D, low C. Next is Garrett, not Yanni Gelman, and I'm going to put him in F tier. His corpse mom I have rated higher than him. Garrett is just, I don't know. Every time I get to, like, season 5, I always forget that, like, Yanni Gelman was even in this show. That's how forgettable and bad he is. I mean, he let Jenna think that he murdered Allison for over a year, which is just kind of shitty.
I didn't kill Allison, but Jenna thinks I did.
And then he, like, got capped by Wilden for no real reason at all. It was justified that, like, Wilden was gonna... That, like, Garrett was gonna tell the police, like, all the sketchy shit Wilden was doing. And it was just the whole thing. The Halloween train was where it all kind of fell apart. But, yeah. Next we have Byron Montgomery. And he is very much an F-tier character. He's a terrible person. He cheated on his wife. He's just bad. This is Sam. He's the guy at the blind school who was friends with Jenna. And I'm going to put him high D tier. And just because he was boring and pretty forgettable, but he was also kind of interesting in the sense that I liked his little dialogue with Spencer. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Would you like real sugar or fake?
Real. I'll get it. Just tell me what time it's at.
Oh, it's 11.
Neat trick, huh?
Yeah.
Here. Feel the difference?
Yeah, the grains of sugar are bigger.
Before we do Janet, I have to go get a bottle of water because I forgot to. But Sam's okay. Okay. And my bracelet kind of broke. The band thing kind of pulled out so I can see the string now. The wire. And I'm ripping my socks, which have holes in them. While I get my meds together. Next we have Janet. Might be the worst character in the show, actually. She was one of Caleb's foster moms who was just trying to reel in the check money. And in exchange for the Social Security money, she let Caleb just do whatever he wanted.
The only thing my foster mom cares about is cashing the checks.
Wait, I thought you were living at Lucas's.
I am.
Then why is your foster mom still getting money for you? I mean, you don't even live with her.
That's the deal. So long as I show up to that visit from Child Services, Janet leaves me alone.
And she's from season 1 or 2, I forget which one. But it was when Caleb still had short or long hair, so. Yeah, she's a terrible person. Speaking of F-tier characters, man, you really get an idea for what kind of show this is by how many people we have in F and D tier. I mean, I get that there's supposed to be less people the higher up that you get, but damn, I mean, this is character diff right here. Like, this is just, man. Next is Big Rhonda. She was Bethany's roommate at Radley. And she was just also another big stupid plot hole. Aria, she was like diabetic and Aria fed her like food. And then she had that sketchbook. And then she was like, thief! And then she just disappeared. Just another one of the season 5 mysteries that just fell into the earth. That almost tasted like flavored water. Guess that's why you don't drink it at room temperature. Next is Ben Coogan. This was Emily's first boyfriend. He was in like the first 3 episodes of the show, and I think that was literally it. This is before Emily came out, or before she really knew she was gay. And he's basically just a terrible person, because he just kind of like sexually assaulted her. And he's just terrible. Like, he's just a really bad person. He just sexually assaulted her and then got punched by Toby. And then he got like wrecked at Noel Khan's party.
So, you decided to come after all?
Yeah, I did. Just not with you. You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
So, yeah. Next we have Barry Mabel, and honestly, I still stand by the fact that Barry Mabel is an A-tier character. Just, we unintentionally followed his 10-year weight loss journey just because he's always on the show, and he's just... On God, Barry's a pretty darn cute character. I'm still gonna stick with that. Next is Gabriel Holbrook, and honestly, I would say Holbrook is a B-tier character. I think he's very interesting, but do I like him more than Tom? I don't know. Or Mike? I don't know. I think he's really interesting, and I also found out he was Jack Rourke from Need for Speed The Run, which I don't know why I didn't put that together sooner.
Word is you made a wrong turn, Jack.
No one ever got ahead sitting on their hands, now did they, Sam? You're on my list, Aria. The naughty one.
But overall, Holbrook's just interesting, and he's kind of evil in a good way, and I really like the scene where after he gets fired and he harasses Hannah in the car, and then Hannah hits him, and then he disappears, and no one ever sees him again.
Hello, Hannah.
They suspended you. Why do you have this car?
I haven't gotten around turning it in. You gonna report me? I might get in trouble for that.
Let go of me, now!
I want to ask you a question first. How does a girl like Allison become a girl like Allison?
She's had years of practice.
I had a career. The start of one. I don't have that anymore. I'm finished because of her.
You could have said no. You didn't have to do all of her dirty work. Cleaning out all that junk in the storage space, trying to kill Spencer, Aria, and Caleb.
No, you're getting me mixed up with the wrong fall guy. I spent the last few weeks locked up in a hotel with a couple of old-timers from Internal Affairs. You don't believe me? Ask Tanner. Tanner knows everything.
Wait a minute.
She cut me off.
When?
Did Allison tell you to kiss me? Oh, she did, didn't she?
You don't get to play the victim here. You're the grown-up police officer. She's just a girl.
And, like, he got together with Allie, and it was just, I don't know. I just like their vibe. I just like Allie. Oh my god. I just like Holbrook's vibe. He is one of the better cops on the show. Next is Ella Montgomery. It's Aria's mom, and honest to God, I don't know. It's like I want to put her in B tier, but I can't really find an overwhelming reason to do so. So, and on God, Ella's just kind of a meh character. But I put Veronica in B tier. So do I really like Veronica more than Ella? I really don't, even though I feel sorry for her. But So yeah, Ella, B tier. I mean, she's nice and sweet enough, but she is boring at times. So, yeah. But she does have a very good character arc. And some storylines, which I really like. Next, we have our last Pretty Little Liar, the 6th and final Pretty Little Liar. And that is Aria Montgomery. Again, I used her Season 7 promo picture. And Aria's A tier. I don't like her as much as I like Hanna, but I do like her more than Spencer. And yeah, I would say that Aria's an A tier character. She was my original favorite on the show, and I think that just has something to do with the fact that she's the first character we saw individually, apart from the flashbacks. But just, I couldn't get past Ezra. Where did we put Ezra? Did we put him in C? He should honestly be an F tier. Ezra's just, I wanted to see her with someone her own age. It just kind of turned into her whole personality, and I just didn't like it. So, yeah. Next is Archer Dunhill. Now, I have him on here twice, and you'll see why. I'm going to rate them separately. I'm going to rate Archer Dunhill, and I'm going to rate Elliot Rollins, the guy that Dunhill was impersonating. I felt that this was important because Rollins is almost Rollins is a character in himself because he has a different backstory, he has a different origin, a different occupation. It was just a character being portrayed by Archer Dunhill. And I really like that character. And I'll talk about that more when I get there, so I did want to rank them separately. But as for Archer Dunhill, the real person, he's a D tier character. He's probably like high F tier, low D tier. He just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He's not really interesting. It just feels like he really shouldn't be in the show. I mean, they say he met Charlotte on the plane in season 5, but it's just, honestly, it's just, that's at the point in the show where, like, they just kind of keep opening new cans, even though they haven't finished what's in the old ones, and it's just kind of shitty. So, Archer, I feel like he just shouldn't have existed. Next is Andrew Campbell. They thought he was the first Charles. Honestly, low B or high C? I would say Andrew's like a mid B tier character. I really liked his relationship with Aria in season 5. I loved the last scene he was ever in, where he said, where he had this really awesome line to the girls about how, like, everything around them just ends up being terrible. And, I just, like, Andrew just had the tea.
Andrew,
Stay away from me.
are your parents inside?
I called them. I wasn't staying in there to wait.
I'm really glad you're out.
Really? That's not what I heard.
Okay, but you have to understand.
No, you have to understand. Do you know where I was the 3 weeks they're trying to find me? Looking for you. I was gonna be the hero. Instead, I get arrested, thrown in jail. They investigate my parents, tear up my uncle's farm. Because I wanted to help you. Because I didn't believe what people said about you and your friends.
Just let me explain.
Don't. Just don't. You graduate in 3 weeks. All you have to do is stay out of my way.
Well, you'll graduate. Doesn't mean we will.
Oh, you'll graduate. The school wants you gone as much as the rest of us. You'll graduate with honors.
Andrew, you need a lift?
Like I'm getting in a car with you two. No, thank you. Other towns have nice toxic dumps. Rosewood has you.
He was just a good guy. I mean, and he was in love with Spencer, but he never really went out of his way to act creepy on it. He was just a good guy with some self-control. He was just Aria ended up next to Jake, yes! Anyway, he was just a good fella. What was his line? Other towns have nice toxic dumps. Rosewood has you. Yeah. Next is Alex Drake. She's an F tier character. She shouldn't exist at all. They should not have went with the twinser theory. I made it a point to use the ridiculous LO sister frame just because I felt that was really important, just to drive home how terrible she is. And yeah. Speaking of Alex's, next we have Alex Santiago, Spencer's first boyfriend. He's like a high C tier character. I liked him more than all of Spencer's other love interests, except for Johnny. I have Toby in A tier, but that's just because he was a good character, like, outside of Spoby. So, yeah. But Alex, he was a good stand-up guy. I liked the relationship. Unfortunately, it got sabotaged by A and Melissa. Speaking of Melissa, she is an S tier character. I think Melissa is sexy. She's badass. She's got the tea. She is just a badass fucking character. And I really like her. She is probably my 5th favorite character on the show. I love these smoldering evil characters. And I think her and Spencer did have a lot of good chemistry. And it was unfortunate that they never got to be good friends.
Spencer, you're right. I have to tell you the truth before it's too late. Dad's taking me to the airport. I'm going back to England. He's been wanting me to go back since I told him what I told him in the police station the night you were gone. Maybe Dad's right. And there's nothing to do but keep quiet. But I can't just leave you. Not again. Not like this.
You were always very good at leaving, Melissa. You had a flair for the grand exit. And there were times that you'd walk up those stairs and I just wanted to applaud.
So I'm gonna tell you the truth. And you can do whatever you want with it. Maybe it'll help you. Maybe it won't. But at least you'll know. I saw you the night Alison disappeared. I heard you fighting with her, and I saw you. I saw you with a shovel in your hand. It felt like everyone who ever made the mistake of touching Allie was there that night. What's that line from The Tempest? This island is full of noises.
Sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not.
Then I saw the body.
You're the one who really killed her.
I thought you killed Alison with that shovel. Now I'm not sure what happened.
Poor Melissa.
But standing there, that's what I thought. And I didn't want anybody to know. I couldn't look at her face, so I pushed her in and covered her up. And I didn't tell anybody about what I did or what I thought you did. Now I know it wasn't Alison. And she wasn't dead when I buried her. She was a stranger, and I buried her alive. Because I thought I was protecting you. Our family has a gift for self-preservation. But there's a point when you go from survivor to predator. And I guess that's what happened to us. Goodbye, Spencer.
I love you.
Bye, Melissa.
Next is Ashley Marin. She is an A tier character. Yeah, I do like Melissa far more than I like Spencer. Most people would have Ashley in S tier, and, like, honest to God, she kind of is, but I never felt like a prolific attachment towards her. So, we put her in A tier. Really good character. Really loves her daughter. Just a really solid parent. Probably one of the best. Next is Sabrina, the pot girl that was supplying Spencer with edibles, and Sabrina's quick girlfriend in season 7. She's just kind of a D tier character. She was cool, and I liked her with Emily, but she was just pretty forgettable. So, D tier. Next is Caleb, and on God, I don't know where to put Caleb. Because it's like, I like him. I think he's relatable. He's funny. He's cool. And I have nothing against Caleb. I mean, I'm not like the world's biggest Caleb fan, but I have nothing against him. I don't dislike him. I'm just kind of indifferent about Caleb, but I do like Caleb, and I like Hanna. I don't know why I never was crazy about them together. I mean, I don't dislike them. I would say I like them. I just don't love them. I mean, like, I'm not like, wow, it's not like Emerson, you know? But, you know, Emily's A tier, but can we just put them next to each other, please? I just want to see them next to each other. Thank you. Yes. But, so Caleb, I would probably have to put in A tier. Next to Ashley, where he belongs, and next to Perry. These three seem to be together a lot. So, yeah. Caleb, A tier character. Right up there with Toby. I probably like him more than Toby, so, yeah. This seems like a pretty good order. Yeah. Probably Holden, then Johnny, then Ashley, then Regina, then Barry. Yeah, that works. Next is Wes Fitzgerald, played by the British Greg Sulkin, and you could really tell that he was faking that accent the whole show.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I just stopped by to drop that off. I didn't want to leave a gift at the front door, so the manager let me in.
And I would normally make him a D tier character, but I think he's a mid C tier character just because he was funny and had some interesting lines. The line about the cactus always stuck with me, and that was kind of great, so I really did enjoy that.
Maybe you should still check the plants. I mean, I'm not too good about that. I once killed a cactus. I thought the only way you could do that was with a gun.
Okay.
Next is Leslie Stone, Mona's crazy psychotic friend that had mental issues for a long time. She's not supposed to be in B, she's supposed to be in C. There she goes. And, yeah. She was like, I think she's cool in a badass way, but she's just kind of uninteresting and weird. Next we have Coach Slocum. She appears in one episode and she's an F tier character. Just because she was mean. I mean, she was sensible. Of course, they can't let Emily right back on the team because of the arrest.
It's not just about your health, Emily. Being on a team is a privilege, not a right. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I'm almost finished with community service.
We have to think about what it means to the team. The sort of signal it sends to the other schools if we let you back.
What exactly are you telling me?
I'm telling you it's not my call. I have to talk to the principal. I'm sorry.
But she was also kind of mean. Speaking of mean, we have Claudia Greco, which is Hannah's employer in the first part of the fast forward, and she's just a terrible, disgusting entitled, vile, mean person. So I can get behind that. Next is Reese Matthews, the decoy that Charlotte hired at the Karasimi group.
Oh my god, he's legit. Cece hired Reese as a decoy. He didn't even know that he was a stooge.
And I would make him a high D tier character. It was funny, the jokes they made about him looking like Jason.
It took you guys so long to get here. That was just a really long line in the valet, and we were following a hunch about Charles. And did you find anything? Don't tell Aria. Why would Aria care if you had a photo of Jason on your phone? Wait, why do you have a photo of Jason on your phone?
I thought he was kind of a scene stealer every scene he was in, just because they tried to give him that like bad guy vibe. And when he locked the moms in the basement, I'm pretty sure that's who did it.
Is that? It must be.
I'm confused. Is Mr. DeLaurentis here or not?
We're not sure.
Are any of you part of the DeLaurentis family?
Are you? We're neighbors. We were just...
No, hold it. I live next door. What is your business here?
I'm from the Karasimi group, a foundation that was sponsored by Mr. DeLaurentis' late wife. I had some questions for him. Maybe I'll come back at a better time.
You know, maybe we should all...
Hannah thinks the Karasimi group is connected to Charles.
I think we just met Charles.
That was kind of badass. But he just fell into a lot of, like, the big Season 5, Season 6A abyss of just all these things that got opened up that never got explained. At least most of the stuff from Season 4 directly tied in to the CC reveal, whereas a lot of the Season 5 stuff was just like, what? Next we have Liam Green. This was Aria's boyfriend during the flash forward, and honestly, I'm kind of here for him. He was just a good guy, you know what I mean? Like, he was just a good guy. I'm here for him. I'm here for Liam. I mean, I wish they would have ended up together. I mean, I like Jacria more, but I wish she would have ended up with anyone but Ezra. And, it's, we only got another row and a half, people. We only got another row and a half. Oh, God. I never thought we would actually do this. It's almost as much as, like, ranking every episode. Anyway, Cochran, the female. She's a bro character. Just didn't do a whole lot. Actually, I would make her a C character, just because she did indirectly, accidentally help the liars. When Noel broke into the office.
This is Spencer Hastings.
This is Dr. Cochran, remember me?
Yeah, of course.
I'm the person whose office you had someone ransack last night.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop it, all right? You and your little friend came to see me, and I didn't give you what you wanted, so you sent someone back here to break in and find it for you. But he didn't find it, did he?
No.
Well, guess what? I can't afford to have your guy come back here again. So get a pen.
A pen?
Write down this address.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh. Okay.
431 Evangeline Highway. It's an apartment complex outside of town. It's a real pit. You should feel right at home.
And what's at this address?
My father. At least he was the last time the police called me about him. And here's a hint. You want him to talk? You better bring a bottle of whiskey.
Whiskey. Got it.
So there. I gave you what you wanted. Now please, call off your dogs and don't bother me again.
I promise I wouldn't.
Even though he was really no help at all. Hackett is an F character. Hackett is often alluded to being one of the worst characters in the show, just because it's referenced many times that he hates confrontation.
When did you become friends with Arthur Hackett?
I'm not. But I know how much he hates conflict, almost as much as he hates making decisions, so I thought if I offered him a way out, he'd take it. And he did.
He's spineless.
I saw the car. Mike couldn't have done that.
No, they're saying that he did. And Mike's saying they're getting railroaded and Hackett's just letting it happen.
And it's evident many times that he just doesn't have anyone's best interest in mind, but his own reputation.
As I told your parents, the school will protect you from the press and the curious.
We appreciate that, Mr. Hackett.
But there are limits to what we can do under these unusual circumstances. I need to know that you will do your part to keep the disruptions to a minimum.
You won't even know that we're here.
Hackett wishes we transferred to a high school in Borneo.
Speaking of that, next we have Peter Hastings, the cause of all problems in Rosewood, father of half the town, and if he didn't exist, the show would be 4 seasons shorter.
You can't burn that.
I can do whatever I want with junk I find on my property.
But it could be evidence.
We don't need more evidence now that Ian Thomas is in a grave I paid for.
Why do you care that Jason's moved back?
Look, this isn't something for you to worry about, Spencer. But for the time being, you stay away from Jason DeLaurentis.
Look, whether you've earned it or not, you have a reputation. My daughter can't afford to be seen with you.
I would never do anything to hurt Spencer.
Good. If you mean that, just stay away from her.
Are you asking me to throw the match?
Spencer, I'm asking you to just look at this as a means to an end. Okay? If he wins, I win. Got it? Look, you told the police everything you know. So while they're doing their job, we just think you should see a therapist. Talk about how you feel. I don't have to answer your questions.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Another remark like that, and you'll be looking for a job.
Spencer deserves some answers.
Answers? And just who the hell are you? Huh? Did you take this job at my house so you could stir up trouble?
Dad, stop.
Huh? No, you couldn't wait to run to her and tell her about what you unearthed in our yard.
It was her hockey stick.
And it was none of your damn business! None of this is! Now, why don't you get in that truck of yours and keep driving? You got me?
Just don't listen to him, okay?
Spencer, don't get in the middle of this.
I am in the middle of this.
Go to the house. Now, go to the house! No, Spencer! Spencer! Get out of the car!
He can get the back of the barn ready before Jason finishes that fence.
Oh, there's not going to be a fence.
There isn't?
No, I stopped that. Called the surveyor. He was building on our property.
Hastings? Okay, I'll tell you one thing. I think we rolled over way too quickly on that therapist deal. Separating the girls, I am not going to do that again. It seemed to make sense at the time. Right? That wasn't about helping anyone. That was about Peter Hastings, who never met a problem he couldn't buy off, one way or the other.
Where was this?
Right here, about a half a foot down on the property line.
I'll take care of it.
What is it?
Nothing to worry about.
Why would somebody bury it?
It's all right, Toby. Said I'll take care of it. You know, in fact, if you just talk with Spencer, don't bother mentioning it to her, okay?
Too late.
told her.
Didn't know I shouldn't.
What did she say?
Didn't seem to mean anything to her.
There's no point in telling her about this conversation, is there?
No, sir.
Good night, Toby.
Jason's parents begged me to change the date on the former will. The one where the old lady left everything to both grandchildren. Spencer, we're not going to the police about this, ever.
Why are you protecting Jason?
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm protecting myself. Okay, I could be disbarred just for touching that will.
So why would you do it? Why would you break the law for them?
It's complicated.
No, why? What does the dilaurentis family have on us?
I think I've answered enough questions for one night. What the hell are you doing here?
Don't.
You need to stay away from this.
I think my sister would want me here.
Look, this isn't just about me, all right? It's about you. I did things to protect you that you don't even know about.
My mother told me about the will, okay? You didn't need to do that. I didn't kill Allie.
I never thought you did. I've seen what you've gone through. And I was honest with you last night because I thought it would help.
No, you told me because I didn't give you a choice. Does she know?
No. And she's not gonna find out tonight. Look, I don't want my daughter's life derailed any further. She needs to find a way to, put this behind her. The trial, your sister.
Yeah, which sister exactly are you talking about? Because as it turns out, I have more than one.
Your mother can never know what you told me.
If there's anything that you haven't told me.
We've told you everything that we know. Spencer, what the hell is going on?
You have to discuss that with Mom.
I would love to, but she won't return any of my calls.
We know that you lied about where you and Melissa were the night that Mrs. dilaurentis died.
How do you know that?
What are you gonna do when the cops find out that the pills that killed her are in your medicine cabinet?
Do you hear yourself? You have been lying to me for my entire life, literally from day one.
You knew about Charlotte before the dollhouse.
I'll be damned if I ever let something like that happen to you again.
Why are you calling me here?
You know why I'm calling you. You thought you could pin this on me?
I could pin a lot on you, Peter.
I think burying a dead body in my yard is plenty.
I didn't have a choice. If it wasn't Jessica, it would have been me 6 feet under. I knew what you two were planning.
6 feet isn't deep enough for you. What the hell is this?
Why are you
Where's that coming
me?
from? You know why I'm calling you. You thought you could pin this on me?
I could pin a lot
Peter,
on you.
what is going on?
How did she get in here? Body in my yard is plenty. This is what happens when you open the door to a lunatic. You know everything in here is just a manipulative ploy.
Peter?
She'll suck you in, and before you know it, make you share responsibility for
what? For what you were willing to do to make her go away forever?
I'm not gonna dignify that.
Answer her question, Peter.
What's the question? Did I try to protect my family from a deranged sociopath who wanted to shatter our lives? Hell yes! And I'd do it again!
And then she told me that Mary was pregnant. And I got this terrible cold feeling in my stomach. She told me that it happened before, but this time they knew who the father was. Because Mary told them. Apparently, your father was in a restaurant when Jessica walked in. Or who he thought was Jessica.
Dad did this to you. He did this to you again.
Some people have a great capacity for repeating mistakes.
We would be done after season 2, boys. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 seasons shorter. 5 seasons shorter. Next is Eric Kahn. I would make him like a high C tier character. He's just a cool guy. He's like Noel, but cooler. The one episode that he's in, he's kind of a badass.
How the hell are you?
Worse, now that I'm seeing you, Eric, but thanks for asking.
That's no way to treat the host. But you brought a virgin sacrifice, so all's forgiven.
So, we'll definitely do that. Next we have, not Archer Dunhill, we have the persona of Elliot Rollins. The character that Archer Dunhill portrays. The act that he puts on. And I would honestly, that is an A-tier persona right there. If he was actually who he said he was, I would have shipped them really hard. I think the scene where they're like, marry us, Aria, I think that was pretty cute.
Whoa.
Who is that?
Sure someone paid the cater?
Hi! Hi. I told you it was too late. She was sleeping.
They weren't sleeping.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Party's kind of over, guys. Were you looking to
Get married. Tonight. Allison tells me you're not licensed.
Wait, you want to get married? You want me to marry you to each other? Right now?
Is English our first language?
Oh, I cannot do that. Why not? Your twinkle lights are still on in your backyard.
And I have rings.
Please, Aria, marry us.
I liked the identity of Elliot Rollins. Of course, Dunhill was just kind of a slag, and he was just kind of meaningless. Where did I even put him? I thought I put him D tier, but did I really put him F tier? Where is he, boys? It's the picture of him standing in the room talking to Mary. So it should be pretty easy to pick out. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I put him high F tier. Wow. Okay, next we have Bart Comstock. This is the guy from the movie theater that saw Maya get into Nate's car the night she was murdered.
I know, listen, they talked to me.
Why would they talk to you?
Well, like I said, I remembered her, so that's how I recognized her.
Recognized her where?
Well, it was late. I was up on the marquee, changing the bill, and I saw her get in the cop car with the guy who killed her.
And it was basically Garrett's alibi. So, yeah. Another thing is, how did Garrett even know that that anklet was at the fucking shop? Then why did he give it to his mom's corpse? I don't get that. Anyway, Bart Comstock, Aria talked to him like once, and then he just disappeared. The way that picture is cropped, it really signifies how I feel about him. And, he's a D-tier character. He was pretty helpful, but he was just overall uninteresting. Next is Esther Potter. She's an F-tier character. She was the girl that, Ashley stole the money from in season 1 and then croaked. And interestingly enough, I was looking at this last night. I was just looking at the actress because I just figured she'd be the kind of person that'd be dead. She's alive and she's 91 somehow. So yeah, I'm giving her F tier solely because of that one scene where she like helps herself to literally every single butterscotch but one, and the camera like pans it on it. So it just really needs to be known that like she took them all. So yeah, she's just greedy, terrible, F tier character. Next is Sean Acker, who is honestly a little more important in the books. It was Hannah's first boyfriend. He was the funny abstinence man.
Really more comfortable in an observational role during sexercise.
But you make me so hot.
I'm ready to do it.
And he abstained more than Ted, and Ted was a pastor. And Ted gave birth to A, so... Or, well, Ted didn't give birth, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway. So, yeah. Ted was just useless. They didn't even get married. It made me so sad. Sean... I want to say he's a C tier character, but honestly I feel like he's high D tier. I just don't like him that much. He's just kind of boring. There's nothing really wrong with him per se, but he's just kind of boring. Next is drug-free Dean, sober Spencer's sober coach that fell in love with her. And honestly, I would say he's a B tier character. He's funny, he's cool, he's helpful. Yeah, him like randomly showing back up in season 6 and like 6A, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I think that was just kind of useless. And then he was like, he fell in love with her. And then like, that's another like adult wanting to like fuck a minor thing is Dean and Spencer.
I need to stop seeing you. Because every time you're near me, I just want to grab you and kiss you. And the fact that you have a boyfriend isn't the problem. But the problem is I don't care.
I don't understand what the deal is, people. Like, what is it with this show? Anyway, so then he was just like, he got in his car and drove away, and then they never saw her again, or him again. So yeah, he's B tier. But while he was on the show, he was cool. I really liked his interactions. I just think I related to him a lot. Not because I want to have sex with children, but because he was a sober coach. A lot of that goes around in my family, so. Next is Addison Derringer, who I thought was AD for like an episode. Not even gonna lie on him. She's missing, probably dead. Probably like, you know. Wouldn't it be funny if they just reskinned the entire show and just made the exact same show, but it was just with the new group? Like all the same stuff happened, but their Mono was like some girl named Margaret or like Duncan Albert that flew Addison from like, you know, his name was like Daryl or something. They just reskinned the whole show. They just made the whole show again, like over again, scene for scene, but just with a different cast and different names. I would do it. I would watch 7 seasons of it. I would watch the ship between like Maya's cousin and Addison. It wouldn't be as good as Emerson, but you know. Addison, I would make her like a high C tier character. I think she's interesting and kind of badass. Next is Marco. I would make Marco a B tier character. I think he's definitely one of the better cops in Rosewood, and I really enjoyed Sparko. I think that was a really cute ship, and I think it was fun and awesome. But he just, like every other person that gets involved with the liars, he just kind of went crazy. And
Sorry, when did we go from dating to stalking?
I'm here to do a follow-up.
More questions.
It's my job.
So why are we in the middle of the street instead of down at the station?
I thought you might be embarrassed. I hadn't realized until I spoke with Hannah's mother the other night that you and Caleb Rivers had ever been more than friends.
Why would that be embarrassing?
Was he the reason that you stopped with me that night in the elevator at the Radley?
What relevance does that have?
He'd have a strong motive to protect you, wouldn't he?
I really hope you're not having a hard time separating what's personal from what's professional, Detective Fury. Given that I know how much you value sticking to the letter of the law. I have to go.
I'm just curious. Does your interest in me have anything to do with you suddenly needing a cop in your corner?
If you have anything real to ask me, you can do it in your office, under fluorescent lights, and I promise you, it will not be me who's embarrassed.
disappeared. Took himself off the case.
Fury told me everything, Miss Hastings. From bar stools to ping pong. Right before he took himself, off the case.
So that's a whole thing. Next, we're going to have a pair of A-tier characters who I like very much. Lucas Gottsman and Ren Kingston. We'll start with Lucas. Lucas is a great guy. He's a great friend to Hannah, and I always shipped them together. I always liked their friendship, especially in the flash forward. Lucas's last scene in the whole show, it really is, to me, just moving. Just fantastic. When Hannah asks what was worth losing everything for, and Lucas just goes, "You."
Thanks for that.
Lucas? I believe you. That you weren't part of what happened to us. But why is the factory for sale? And was our business partnership ever real?
I think you're so talented, Hannah. I had trouble getting other people to take a chance on you.
Well, what about the investors?
You're looking at them. I was too embarrassed to tell you that I couldn't do it anymore.
So my friends made your life miserable in high school. They almost broke your collarbone tonight. Now you're telling me that I lost all your money?
I'll make it back again. Besides, it was worth it.
How is it worth it? What's worth losing everything?
You.
Thank you. I never doubted that you were.
I know. I know.
And I just feel like that's just the mantra for their whole relationship, and I don't think there's a better way to I don't think there was a better way to send him off. Just a great character. He was one of the few characters that was just great arc to arc, start to finish. Very few characters on the show, like very few important characters on the show, can I say that about? But Lucas is one of them. For that, he's A-tier. Next, Ren Kingston. I shipped him. I shipped Renser.
You really dodged a bullet, not marrying my sister.
I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that.
I'm serious. My family is so screwed up that Dr. Phil wouldn't even take us on.
Hey, my family has issues too.
Oh, really? Like what? Did somebody butter their bread with a steak knife?
Hey, just because we don't play high-low at the dinner table doesn't mean we're not just as screwed up. And for the record, I'm looking and I can't find anything wrong.
I am plenty messed up.
Enlighten me.
For one, I have an obsessive need to be the best at everything. I even have to win at yoga.
All right, that's a quirk, not a fault. And I have plenty of those too.
Like?
All right, I'm a touch what you call OCD. Every book on my bookshelf has to be in alphabetical order, or I can't sleep.
What is Aristotle doing on the bottom row? It's okay. Aristotle is exactly where he should be. I remember the first time I saw you, and I just thought, damn. Just.
Spencer?
Yeah.
Are you pissed?
Pissed?
Snockered.
I'm snockered.
Drunk.
Totally. I am smashed. thought you were really into me.
Yeah. Very much so. And that's why I can't. Not like this.
Nope. He was actually my AD pick for a long time. I had like a bunch of huge drawn out theories that just, they make too much sense, to be completely honest. But yeah, he was my AD pick. I was really bummed that he ended up being just a pawn. It should have just been Ren. Alex shouldn't have existed, but I think he was just interesting, funny. I'll always like the scene where he comes into Spencer's house drunk and he's like, "Summon your father."
Oh. I picked this for you. From the garden.
Ren, what the hell are you doing here?
I've come here to set things right.
You're drunk.
One does not come unfortified to the House of Hastings.
Ren, I thought you were an axe murderer or something.
I tried calling you, but you were blocking my number.
No. Oh, no, I wasn't blocking you. Did you break through the back door?
I had difficulty locating the front of the house, I'm sorry.
Ren, go. Now.
I've thought of nothing but you since you came to see me. I've been a coward. But that ends tonight. I'm here to take full responsibility. Summon your father.
I'm not summoning anybody. My parents are in New York with Melissa.
Lash of the pop.
Great.
Hello.
Great.
Your face is very fair.
How about some black coffee?
I've been drinking scotch. I'd rather not mix my beverages.
Ooh. Okay, come on, right here.
That scene's hilarious to me, but I just think, I mean, he also had a case of the minor fucky, but other than that, great guy. What is it with everyone in this show? And can we just go through and like look at everyone? Like, how many people so far like have tried to get with a minor? No one in S tier. Jake, Jason, Johnny. Was it ever specified? It's Johnny's an adult because they said he never went to college. So Johnny, Ren, Lucas is the same age as Hannah. Andrew is the same age. Samara, Riley, Lorenzo, Holbrook, Dean, Spencer was an adult, Talia, Ian, Ezra, Wilden, Colin, Wes and Aria were the same age. Clark was a cop, so I don't think it really counts. Cyrus, I think he's probably a little bit older than Allison. Zach. I don't know if Sabrina was the same age as Emily or not. Duncan's probably the same age. Connor's the same age. Garrett. Byron, not really, but he just gets points for being terrible. And yeah, so that's about half the show. Right there. That's a lot of people. Next is Jillian Howe. She's an F tier character. Just, has no regard for anyone else. Lyndon James, aka Nate St. Germain, the Maya's murderer ex-boyfriend who pretended to be his cousin so he could get close to Emily and kill her for revenge. Another black character to die on the show. Terrible. Shitty person, not really that interesting. Next is Sydney, and I might be a little biased. It goes against my better judgment. I should put her in B tier, but I'm going to put her in A tier. Just because I think Chloe Bridges is really pretty. And, you know, I gotta put her in B tier. It goes against my better judgment to put her in A tier. Because she was kind of annoying and uninteresting, and there was all that sketchiness with Jenna in Season 5, where they were dressing up as each other that just kind of fell into, like, the ether with all the other Season 5 mystery plot holes. Season 5 had a ton of them. They really did. So, yeah. Next is Kate, which I don't really have to talk much about. She's just Isabel, but worse, because she's like Isabel, but with the means to scheme. And she did scheme.
You feeling better? I brought you some ginger ale. Is that what sobered you up so fast?
Excuse me?
Hey, what are you...
You can't do that. Give me that. Those are mine. Oh. May I have my purse back, please? Listen, Granny, if I wanted to play airport...
You think you're pretty sly, don't you? This one was guzzling water. You had the bar all to yourself.
And it backfired on her.
I didn't snap that picture of you, Kate. But I think I know who did. Who? Let's just say I'm no stranger to the magic of Photoshop. I mean, I spent all of 9th grade trimming my thighs. And I care because, you know, I'm starting to think that someone put your head on a much better body. Excuse me? Well, for one, your chest was definitely enhanced. Guess again, Hannah, some of us don't have to work as hard as you do. Oh, so you didn't enhance, you just erased. The birthmark above your waist? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You know, next time I'd be a little bit more careful when you're taking a sweater off in public. Why would you do that, Kate? Why would you take a...
What was I supposed to do? Wait for your stuck-up BFF to download hideous pictures of me from riding camp. Like I couldn't see that coming.
No, maybe it's time I really take a picture of you, Kate. Aria, can I borrow your phone? Yeah, in a minute. I'm using it, though, to record this conversation.
Where's Kate? She and Hannah are inside. Mr. Tamborelli wanted to speak to the girls before he included us.
What's going on? What, did Hannah pick another fight?
No, but she may have ended this one. In the future, Isabel, before you point fingers, you may want to take a whiff of the rotten fruit under your family tree.
She was just a terrible person who tried to get Hannah in trouble.
Training a horse, it's an art. You have to work with the animal, bending its will until it knows you're its master, taking all the fight out of it until it truly is broken. That's how you're gonna feel when I'm through with you. Welcome to the family, sis.
And last but not least, Sarah Harvey, which I feel like it would be the right thing to do to put her in F tier, but I'm actually going to put her in D tier, because in Season 5 and Season 6, I thought she was pretty interesting. I think more so she was just a victim of bad show writing. Because they kind of made her interesting with her, like, relationship with Emily. And then they started giving her bad haircuts and then killed her. So, yeah. And then they never really expanded on her a whole lot. It was like the episode that she died, they revealed that, like, she actually was trying to keep Emily safe, and she still was.
We're not threatening you, Emily. I know you don't believe me, but I really was looking out for you. I care about you. And all we're doing is looking for the same thing you are. Do not come back here. Is that a threat? I'm trying to keep you safe, Emily. I want you to be safe. Please, don't come back. Okay, look, I'm not afraid of Jenna. I'm not talking about Jenna. I'm talking about... Sarah?
And then they killed her, and then we never found out anything more about it. They just found out that they were, like, looking for Charlotte's money.
What about Sarah Harvey? Was she looking for you too?
Well, Charlotte told Sarah that she hid her greatest treasure under Radley. And Sarah thought that she was talking about some pot of gold, but what she meant was that file you found.
They're like, we're after the same thing. Yeah, well, they weren't looking for cash like you were, but whatever. More bad show writing. But other than that, she was just kind of uninteresting. But I did like her in 6A. And, yeah, I did like her in 6A, and I did like her with Emily. It's a shame she had to be evil, and it's even more of a shame that she had to be boring. So... that's it. That is all 150 characters in Pretty Little Liars. Tier listed. Wow. We did it, boys. We fucking did it. Let's go. Hey guys, if you made it this far, I just want to give a big thank you for sticking this one out. It took me almost 3 weeks to edit this, and it was not how I imagined I'd be spending my winter break. Just for reference, I recorded the raw files on December 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 9th, and started the render a day after New Year's, so needless to say, I spent a really long time on this. But this is something I really wanted to do to give my videos more of a flair and less of a raw footage kind of feel. And I'm really excited to see how it turns out analytically. And if you're seeing this, that's a great start, because that means this video made it through copyright inspection and rendered out as something higher than 8 frames per second, which were my 2 biggest fears coming into this project. Now, I really did try and get everybody, but unfortunately I realized pretty early on that there were some minor characters that I forgot, and you'll find them listed here. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and remember to click the bell, so every time I upload a new video, you'll get a notification, and hopefully they'll be very similar to this.